first thought, submit spirit to form matter. Our celestial humanity arrives, awake in a dream, an inception of our reality. So we live, we love, and then there is music. So we dance, we sing, we praise, we reflect. In the infinite in between, the now that was, faces dance in our dreams. Some familiar, some
a single vision radio.
Cosmic composition. In the irrelevance of this time, we realize the passion of the random action, learning the lesson that the brotherhood of man is far more important than the ego of any individual. Imagination becomes the sound of thought, traveling at the speed of art. So we paint on the canvas of our ephemeral encounters. A masterpiece of memory that lives in the eternity of a child's.
Are you ready, black people? Are you ready to love? Are you ready to groove? Are you ready to listen to all the beautiful black voices, the beautiful black feeling, the beautiful black waves moving in beautiful air? Ready to love black? Out here and I'm home. Where's my welcome home party? Where's my welcome home? Oh, Brother Dahveed, Saba. So think about that. I'm welcoming you as the older generation, and we just happen to meet and realize that we have really, in some sense, a highly overlapping aim for what we're doing. That's powerful.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but let me be quiet because that's one of my biggest faults. I get paid to talk, and then I start talking, just talking. I gotta be quiet sometimes so I can be ready for the moment that I'm acknowledged. See, money ain't nothing but energy.
Yes, sir. Current.
And so, yeah, it's a current, it's a flow. So when you engage someone, this is what I get paid to do, is talk. I mean, at the highest level. And so I shouldn't even be talking otherwise. This is a great irony. What is the greatest power that we possess? As human beings. What's the greatest power?
Power to love, I would say.
That's a powerful statement. Put that in the context of silence.
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 Wow.
The greatest power we possess is our silence, our stillness. Love comes from the stillness.
Yes, sir.
The deepest love comes from the stillness. Make love to your woman. And I guarantee you, that moment when you meet in the cosmos, silence. Nothing. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
Greatest power we possess is the silence. And then comes forth when you really get into the silence comes the word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God.
And then
First
the
you
word
gotta-
became flesh.
And the word became flesh and dwelt among
Amongst
men.
men. Yes, sir.
But you got to enter the silence before the word has. That's what I was telling you. I talk too much. I get flowing.
Okay, brother. You got a lot to say.
No, but I'm saying I get excited and I start bubbling over and I forget. Let's go back to the silence. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Likewise.
And it's no accident that you are who you are, and I'm meeting you here in your professional setting, Detroit Blue. Now, fathom that. We haven't even talked about it, but fathom it. You aren't filming, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the silence then, and we'll start there. But the blue, Detroit Blue. Amiri Baraka wrote a book called Blues People. You're rewriting that book right now.
Wow.
I had no idea, but it's a blessing.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Thank you for being obedient. Because like I said, I wanted to have a kind of what can I say, return introduction to Detroit.
So this is your return, huh?
This is my return introduction. And you have been sent. Detroit Blue has been sent to say welcome home. And it's not nothing lost on the fact that you are in my son's generation. I've lost 2 sons.
Okay.
I only had 2. Lost both of them.
So I hear that.
Powerful message from on high. I have 2 ancestor sons.
Yes, sir.
Think about that.
Yes, sir.
Jump stuff. Okay. That's the preamble.
All right, we're here at the Moondog Cafe today on August the 2nd, 2025 with the iconic last poet, Dahveed Nelson, a.k.a. Baba Saba G.
Yeah, not Baba, but Saba. Saba is...
Well, your father.
Yeah, Baba is true, but Saba encompasses Baba.
Okay.
You never can become a Saba.
Oh, okay.
And you can't become
I
a
stand
grandfather.
corrected. I stand
You can't
corrected.
become a grandfather unless you have sons or daughters who give birth. And then when they give birth, you become a grandfather. So Baba is father in Swahili, Kiswahili. Saba is grandfather in Hebrew. And that's part of my story. But I have, in my journey, I have deeply explored my Hebrew roots. And so I've taken the title Saba G, which is G simply representing great. Great grandfather of universal rapport. GG4. Great grandfather of universal rapport. FOUR.
Okay.
That's my stage presence, which has never been introduced. Today, we're introducing it in this video.
Okay. Wonderful. I'll start out with the questions. Since you were expounding on that, Saba G, and the name and whatnot, tell us of the evolution of Dahveed Nelson, the iconic last poets, and Saba G.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, let's say this first, as the prelude to the whole thing. To everybody who's listening, take this video, and if you appreciate it, pass it on, because I want to speak to my people here in Detroit, and that's what we're talking about. I was born, well, let me put a little poetic spin to it. I was born on the tenderloin of Black Bottom, but that's not where I grew. My father and mother moved us to the west side because of what they knew. Nothing could grow in Black Bottom because of where we were. We were trapped in the arms of oppression, but that's not where we'd be. And here we are today, ready to rise up and say, hello everybody, this is me. So I was born on John R. and Berner, which no longer exists, in an apartment building, 1939, right around the time of World War II, what they call World War II, and we know to be one of the epitomes of the whole oppressive rise of a regime of white supremacist ideology. So I was born in the midst of that. 1943, I was 4 years old during the Detroit race riot. I was in the basement of an apartment under fire during the race riot. It was a black apartment. My grandmother was the caretaker, and she had a basement apartment. Nobody knew that the basement was an apartment. And I'll never forget it. I was 4, but I remember what happened. My uncle and my father were shielding a cigarette lighter or a match with a hat to call the police to seek help. So that's the beginning, really, of my story. And we moved to the west side, where we were the second black family on our block. One block from the western leg of Grand Boulevard to the east is Vinewood. We lived on Vinewood between Warren and Buchanan. On the corner was Condon Elementary School. And so from that point, being born on the tenderloin of Black Bottom and moving to be the second black family, I watched the evolution. And from that evolution, of course, 4 years old, I experienced the race riot. I couldn't know what it was, but it was a powerful vibration in my life. By the time I was 13 or so, what once was a Euro-oriented neighborhood with 2 black families had become the hood. Every now and then you see a Euro. Great kids. Every now and then. And I choose carefully. I try never to use the term white because of my philosophical outlook, and that's the whole story. But so, if I'm not mistaken, quick journey through my life when I had some rough experiences, but the roughest one, I think I was 14. Let's see, what would I be in 1954? That would be 15, in the summer of 54. And I was born in July, so early summer, I was 14. And Emmett Till's grandfather lived one door away from us. He came to visit his grandfather, and me being kind of an introvert, he became my best friend over the summer. We just identified with one another. 2 young men just coming into young manhood. And then the next summer, I saw his picture on the front of Jet magazine, mutilated beyond belief. That impacted me deeply. at 15, just at having turned 15, when his body was rescued in August, if I'm not mistaken. And that led to the civil rights beginning of the Rosa Parks sit down and Martin Luther King, the Montgomery bus boycott. But I'll never forget. So that's an impact on me. And if you can imagine a young guy just entering manhood, of which intergender relationship is now first becoming real for the first time, and then to see my young friend killed because they said he looked at a woman of another race. And it made an impact never. So that's when I was 14 or 15. And so I grew up in the shadow of the King movement. And by the mid-1960s, I had been attending college in New York. And that's another little picture on my life history. I'm a basketball player. I won a scholarship to New York University when they were the #1 team in the nation. And so I was on the basketball team when the first that was before first Northern City. And so here I am at NYU, and all this stuff is happening. I graduated finally from NYU in 64, I believe, 63, 61, yeah, I think it was 64, and went to Columbia for graduate school. And during that time, they had the first northern city. First northern city. All the while, I'm searching my soul, saying, I don't want to go down south and let somebody beat my head over a lunch counter. I became a Malcolm X follower. You know, any means necessary, we need to be liberated. And then during that early 60s, that's when they stood up on a King March and said Black Power. And all the conservatives said, oh, we don't want Black Power. We want to integrate. But King was evolving. And so by 1963, Amiri Baraka had become a renowned poet and had written a book called Blues People. And as I mentioned to you, Detroit Blue. Baraka sent you. I mean, because you are one of the blues people. There's no doubt about it. Detroit Blue. And the blues, you see, in other words, we have to endure the blues in order to get to be black.
Yeah, our blessings come in the blues.
The blues were the things, it was like I have a poem called Ain't No Time for the Blues. Now, we, in other words, we have to encounter the blues and then we got to rise up into blackness. And if we never really deal with the blues, we never can achieve blackness. But a lot of us get beat down and they just grab on to blackness and say, okay, I'm black. And you still blue. You know, you can't be black and blue. I mean, you can be for a moment black and blue. You know, you get beat up and be black and blue. But after you get over the beating, you got to be black. So Baraka started the Black Arts Movement in the mid-60s. I think it was 63 in Harlem. I was in New York. And that began to give me my direction. Malcolm, I saw Malcolm speak one time. I met Langston Hughes. And so to really get to the point of this whole dissertation, in 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated in April. And that was the final straw that broke the camel's back for me. I'm trying to figure out what can I do? And I didn't have to figure it out. A brother named Sam Anderson came to me in May. King assassinated in April, came to me in May, said we're having a black, I was aware of the Black Arts Movement, and I had taken a workshop on writing poetry at NYU, but I didn't consider myself a poet. You know, I just had written some words. He came to me and said, we're having a poetry reading come on and read. I said, me read poetry? I ain't never read no poetry in front of the audience. I said, look, the people need to hear what you have to say. I said, I can't dispute that. So I went on to the poetry reading in May, the early part of May, in 1968, right after King's assassination. And there was one other poet that stood out in this poetry reading. There was a few poets, and his name was Guyland Kane. And me, I'm a novice. I've written some poems, and I'm shivering in my boots, literally. So my strength was my deep sincerity. I meant what I said. And we talked earlier before getting on camera about Are You Ready? That was one of my poems. And if you can imagine, are you ready, black people? Detroit Blue, are you ready? Are you ready to do what you have to do? Are you ready to do whatever is necessary? Are you ready to love black? Always loving black? No, just a few lines for it. So that's one of my poems. But you see, I do that sincerely. I'm asking a sincere question. And every one of my poems, I was shaking in my boots, but I was saying, this is my offering to you. I hope you accept it. And so after the show was over, me and Guyland Kane was a poet. And he had been on in the theater. Me, I ain't never been in front of an audience before. He had been in the theater. He was a couple of years younger than me, but he was a consummate poet. And so I don't know who else was, but we were invited. And the other little piece is Larry Neal and Barbara Ann Teer had been a part of the Black Arts Movement. Larry Neal was a real right hand of Mary Baraka. Barbara Ann Teer, the head of the National Black Theater. They had been doing duo poetry, if you can imagine. The man and the girl doing duo, which was basically unheard of. Poets usually do things by themselves. So that had inspired me. And Baraka had said, we must have poets who are as polished and practiced as the Temptations and present with that level of degree of sophistication. And it was in my mind that maybe I'd found my place if I could find the right place to connect that with. Especially after I wrote my first poem. So me and Kane were invited to read in a couple of weeks. It was early in May. May 19th, Malcolm's birthday, in Mount Morris Park. Meanwhile, a friend of mine, young friend, a young artist, today named Abiodun Oyewole, and I got together after this little poetry reading. And we had just a jam session at his house. Me and my girl, he and his girl, we just jamming. And I told him about the upcoming invitation. And he didn't really impress upon me that he was going to be there. But when May 19th came, I'm in the park, and here's Abiodun with a handful of papers. So I'm here. And here's Guyland Kane, and here's me. Because Guyland Kane and I had already agreed we're going to read together. And the three of us, they met each other that day. Said, let's read together. And so we agreed that we would go on stage doing the rap, and I'm going to take the N-word out of it, because Nina Simone did this first poem that gave birth to the last poet in the film Summer of Soul. Are you ready? And so we agreed to go on chanting. The students at Howard had taken over, and they said, are you ready? The N-word. But Nina Simone, when she did it, she just had her background doing, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Give me, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready, black people? Are you really ready? Ready to do whatever you have to do to create life? So, I mean, we go on to do that. And then, this is the first time we ever really, we didn't rehearse. We're spontaneous. When we went on, the musicians were sitting out, and one of them said, "You want us to play with you when you go on?" I said, "Yeah, what should we play?" I said to them, "Play what you feel." So they were spontaneously playing behind us. I did Are You Ready? And then we began to go around. And I mean, the people, the audience had been a little, separated, but when we started doing it, they started coming together. And one kid from NYU, after it was over, he said, "Man, how long y'all been together?" We said, we just did it spontaneous. "Man, y'all got to come out to NYU to do this." And that was our first gig, NYU. They hired us for a couple of weeks later, and to finish that intro to the story, when we went to NYU, we began to practice and rehearse.
How did you come up with the name?
Well, after this first performance, I wrote a new poem called The New Breed. And in that poem, I said, "We are a new breed." And I'll give you the lines from the poem. "We are a new breed, black warriors, the last poets of the world. And we will recreate this world in honor of our parents and our ancestors, whose unwept tears even now well up inside us. Tears welling up, waiting to gush out. Tears gushing out and turning into spear points. Each spear tear, the spirit of a great falling war. We are the last poets of the world, and our spirit, breath, rhythm words will temper and harden those tears. Hot tears, tempered in the flames of our souls, hardened in the fires of our suffering into spear points." And this is the improv of the poem. Black warriors, use those tears, spear tips. Fashion your spears that bring death to white evil. And that's where, when we did our first gig, I did that poem in the gig. And after the gig, NYU was turned out. And after the gig, we said, we need to stay together. We need to have a name. We're going to become a group. And Dylan Kane, if you go online now, you can find him doing a poem called A Blue Gorilla. Powerful poem. But he was an artist already, so he understood metaphors and words. So he said, "Why don't we call ourselves the Blue Gorilla?" And we both laughed. Blue Gorilla? Gorilla. We didn't understand. And he said, he didn't skip a beat. He said, "Well, let's take the name from your poem and call ourselves the Last Poets." And that's what happened. And the only other part of the story is this. I, being the elder of the group, but being a very young man, I think 28 at the time, 27 or 28. Kane was 2 years younger than me. Abiodun, 9 years younger. We was kids. But I didn't know that a whole philosophy was in my poem. I didn't know that it was a philosophy and it wasn't about a group. We were not a group. We were a movement, which is still alive today. And back to my brothers and sisters in Detroit. Join the movement. Pass this video on. I'm here in Detroit to bring all those conscious people into this movement of being a new breed, being the last poet, being the turning point, being the spears that bring death to this white supremacist ideology. So that's really the intro.
Wow.
I mean, that is the answer to your first question, right?
Yeah. That's a profound answer to the first question. That's heavy, brother.
Well, it ain't heavy. I mean, in other words, it's strength. It's heavy it's heavy. It's heavy like you lifting weight, and you say, "Wow, man, I didn't know I had that strength."
Right.
No, I can see it you know, I have an audience of one, and you're my audience,
Okay.
and I'm incorporating you into the Last Poets movement, and I want to reemphasize that I'm here to mobilize my brothers and sisters. We have two generations here. This very wonderful brother, Detroit Blue, inheritor of the blues people legacy from Amiri Baraka, who has gone on to the ancestors. But he's speaking to you, and I can see, look at you, brother, and see the spirits hovering around you and inhabiting you. And you know, it's good. And we want to have at least 10,000 views of this. You know, 5,000 from Detroit, and then we can take the other 5,000 outside Detroit. But this is what we want, because we want everybody to know that Detroit is on board with the Last Poets movement. And we ain't no historical group. Yeah, we can be thought to be that, but you show me where the group is. There's albums. The Euro-Americans own all of the work, and I'm going to demand that they turn it over to us. I turn the ownership over to us, or at the bare minimum that they join us with us having the majority rule, because it's our work and it's aimed at our people. But then again, on the other hand, as we evolve, we know that all the people are our people. We are the stewards of the earth. And we're here to say to all the people on earth, we will recreate this world in honor of our parents and our ancestors. Now let's do it. Detroit, what y'all about? Let us know what you're about. You got a place where they can respond, right?
Yeah.
Let us know what you're about, and like this video and pass it on. We want 10,000 views. Let this brother be blessed like he should be. Hey everybody, I don't want to be too intense. Next question.
Next question. Within the cosmic arena of all reality, tell us the true power of the spoken word and its impact on us all today.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Everything that was made by the Word of God. And who is this God? Can we identify that God somehow? That we can call upon Him? You may have noticed I just had my eyes closed. And so that's where you find Him, in the silence. That's where you find it. That's where you find her and him. Male and female created He them. God created. People want to interpret the poetry of the Bible and make men rulers. Men are masculine. The feminine is greater than the masculine, but greater in the sense that the black hole is a divine, metaphysical, alchemical, yet physics concept, the black hole. So what happens, the black hole, some force goes into the black hole, am I correct?
So,
That's the Word. That's the masculine. The black hole is the feminine. We as a people represent the divine feminine. This is the age of the divine feminine. And we as a people are the spear point. We represent the masculine and the feminine. Our rise out of the ashes is the time of conception of a new world. the Word became flesh and walked among men. Detroit Blue. You are a part of the Executive Council, the 50s. The last poets were put in the past. Everybody likes to put us in the past. Do I look like I'm in the past right now? Do I feel like I'm in the past? We're here today, and I'm here as a part of your father's generation, almost your grandfather's. Very close, 30, almost 30 years. If it was 40 years, I'd be your grandfather. Am I right? I'd be in your grandfather if it was 40.
My father would have been 100 this year.
You were a younger one of his siblings, one of his progeny. But I'm saying, definitely, I'm a part of the fatherly generation of that time.
Yes, sir.
So, 30 years, almost 30 years old.
Yes, sir.
That's basically it. And don't call me sir. Yes, Saba.
Yes, Saba. Yes, Saba.
Sir, and that's another whole story too. You know what sir is? It's it's come from the European terminology.
Okay.
Sire, sir, Mr., Meister, Master. All of those things tie together. Those are European terminologies that point to the hierarchy. We are a part of the holy stew. You have bubbled up out of the stew. And your whole generation, that's another whole story we have to talk about. But I don't know if I've answered that question sufficiently.
Yeah, that was powerful. That was powerful. Go back to something you were mentioning a little bit. What is the significance of living in the now am as opposed to the was is?
Today, I am. That's the short answer. Say I am, everybody who hears this, and tell the person next to you to say I am. And then put something behind that I am. I said I am today. I am now. But guess what? Put the special K. You know Kellogg's has a cereal called Special K. Put the Special K in front of the now, and what do you have? I know. And then meditate on that. And guess what? Do you know what I knew when I said I know? No, you don't know. But I knew. And I'll tell you why you don't know. Because it was something new. Take the K. New, you got the K on, take the K back off, and it's something new. I am is the name of God. If you can center yourself and enter the silence deeply enough, you will find God inside yourself. Yield yourself to that God inside yourself, and you can say, Detroit Blue and Dahveed, Saba.
Yes, Saba. Yes, Saba. Next question. This is totally dynamic and cosmic, brother.
Don't forget, like it and pass it on. We want 10,000 views. We want 5,000 in Detroit. And this is part of, join the Last Poets movement. I'm going to be doing things, but I'm 86 years young, and I'm part of the board of directors now. Your generation is the executive presidents. You all got to organize all these other generations. But the 70s, the 60s can kind of help you be the CEO, but the 70s jump up with us.
That's a nice segue into the next question.
Okay.
Why is it important to have an intergenerational bond?
Perfect. The question has partially been answered.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's see, we learned it.
Yes,
That's part of the reason why it's important to have an intergenerational bond, so that we can learn. So that, first of all, I will not survive on this plane. And I'm saying to Detroit, if you want me to go home and be with the ancestors, then leave me alone. Don't pay no attention to this video. And I guarantee you, the forces that be will surround me and say, give up the ghost or evaporate, one or the other. And I'm not going to let them take me out, so I have to evaporate. So I can't fight the army by myself.
You guys doing okay?
You're on the broadcast, We're no, that's good. You understand what I'm saying? Why is it important? I can't survive without you. And right now, in Detroit, I'm surviving without anyone. I have no army. I have no executive council. And that's why I want this video to go viral. The first video I made in Detroit. And I'm honored to do it with Detroit Blue. So that's why it's important. It's important because we are in, let me give you an example. What is the biggest name in the black world today? Do you have any idea what's the most significant individual's name? And it's not an individual, it is an iconic name that has taken on prominence. You know what it is? Ibrahim Traore.
Oh, yes.
The young president of Burkina Faso. Now, why do I put him in the midst of the question? Why is it important? Because shortly after Thomas Sankara was assassinated, Ibrahim Traore was born. The linking of two generations. And 30 some odd years after Sankara was assassinated, Ibrahim Traore became the iconic leader of Africa. And it's nothing, you are his father's generation. 59, 20, 39, 20, 59. He's 34, 35. So this is how it goes. From Thomas Sankara, Ibrahim Traore. Now he's risen up. And it's interesting that when he rose up, the president, John Dramani Mahama of Ghana, began to manifest a powerful elder generation. 50, I think he's 50 or 60, maybe even 70. You understand? We've got to connect the generations. And that if we will never, and I'll say again, if you all don't mind me going to be with the ancestors, and if you would like for me to stay here among you, we got to organize ourselves so that I don't have the responsibility that I have a team that says, we with you, Saba. And that's why we got to get 10,000 views. If we don't get 10,000 views, then I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to say, y'all, I might as well go into meditation and you can come over, you'll see my body as it evaporates into the cosmos. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No.
I got to break that.
No. It's very interesting that because it comes to a I'll just inject this here, and might be in one of the questions. The thing that we face is white supremacist ideological forces functioning formationally in the minds of the people of the planet Earth. You have been conditioned. I have been conditioned. And that's why we say things, and even after our coats have been pulled, we continue to say it because it's in us. It's been put in us. And people call me sir all the time. I say, no, call me Saba. Saba is a title, sir is a title. I prefer the title that connects me to the Hebrew Israelite.
Yes, Saba.
Saba G.
Yes, Saba. Next question. Why is poetry so important to the creed of human development?
The creed. Creed. And just doing some small wordsmithing in the midst of this. Creed, credo, credit, credibility. It's all connected. So the creed, the credibility. Why is poetry so important? Because, see, people think that if they put some rhythm with some words that rhyme, and no matter what they say, they've created poetry. That's far from the truth. I've been doing this for 50 years. I consider myself humbly to be a master poet. And so, back to that question we had earlier, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God. And the Word was God. Poetry is simply the economical expression of massively intense words. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you really ready? Are you ready to call the wrath of black gods, black magic to do your bidding? Are you ready to do whatever is necessary to do? Are you ready to create life? Are you ready to love black? I don't even want to say, are you ready to kill? But I will say, are you ready to die, nigga, die? Are you ready to let the total of all that is not in your sight godly die so that you can rise? These are thoughtful words. These are metaphorical words. They're true words. This is poetry at its best. When you delve deeply into your soul, and out of your soul arises the word of life. Thank you.
Can you describe any way you want to, poetically or otherwise, the true beauty of the woman relative to the nations she has birthed?
Souls arising from the darkness of the deep. She screams silently, yet loudly. Life comes forth. A rose bursts out of the dust, comes up fully grown. She takes her breath, and the rose begins to suckle her breast. And the rose transformed before our very eyes into a soldier with a machine gun on his shoulders. And he takes the machine gun off and it becomes a guitar. And he begins to strum the guitar. I love you, my people. Rise up and sing. Is that a good enough answer? All right. I'm glad that you inspired me to write that poem.
Wow.
Spontaneous, man.
Yeah, that's the true spirit. That's the true spirit.
I'm looking forward to seeing that poem.
Yeah.
I never knew it was, brother, this is so beautiful. Don't forget to like and share this video. That poem alone is worth the effort. You got my latest poem. Our latest poem.
You all had
No, wait a minute, before you go any further. Next time I do that, you better be ready to join me.
okay.
I mean, you do realize I wrote that poem.
Yes, sir.
And I
Yes,
don't
Papa G.
Hey, it's great. It's really wonderful to be here with you. Are you satisfied that
This is cosmic. This is cosmic, brother.
Hey.
Straight up cosmic.
the woman stuck her breast into the face of a rose, and the rose rose up with in a fatigues with a machine gun, and turned the machine gun around and became a guitar. What you talking about? And then he said, "I love you, my people. Come on and share this video.
Like and share.
Like and share. Let's get 10,000 views." And I ain't no words, Ben. You just see, we alive.
That's
We
right.
creating poetry on the spot.
That's right.
Before we leave here, we got to do something together. I'll get it started, or you can get it started. It make no difference to me. So you inspired me to do that. You understand? I mean, I haven't done that in a little bit. I haven't done a beautiful. That is a real poem. But I got to get the copy and write it down.
Yeah, we got it on camera.
I know.
so-
I got to write that down.
Yeah.
It's one of my best little short poems.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is cosmic. The last poem you were telling me the other day at the Creative Arts, that Veterans Creative Arts competition at the VA. You said that you all just had a reunion on May 19th. I think it was in 2024.
This year.
Oh, this year, 25. That's what I thought. I thought I had it. I had it right in my original note. It was this past May. Can you tell us about that? What was that all about? You spoke of how you had all the way down to 16-year-olds, all the way up to
My
your age.
I was the elder, and we had, I believe, I'd have to thoroughly check it, but I believe we had every decade represented between the 80-year-old, 70-year-old. I know those two are the last poets. I'm pretty sure we had 60-year-old. I know we had 50-year-old because we initiated our first, your generation, 55-year-old into the Last Poets Association and Fellowship. See, and that's the other thing. People try to say, well, who was the Last Poets? It was a group. No, it never was a group. It was a movement. So yeah, we did that. Now, what was the question again?
Can you tell us about that
What happened?
reunion? What happened on that?
Oh man. First of all, we were invited to celebrate Malcolm's 100th birthday, and we celebrated it with fervor. We celebrated, and 16 young people joined us. There was a singer, and if I'm not mistaken, it was 16, so that would make 15 spoken word artists, and one singer joined us. And it was powerful. In my estimation, and that's my humble estimation, it was the most powerful thing the Last Poets ever did. And we are, at that point, me being the elder, and I say to my brothers, I think even though I'm the elder, I'm at least as strong as any of the Last Poets. I'm 86, and the oldest of the other three, there are three others surviving, 7 altogether, is 77, I believe. But I'm at least as strong, and I did my most powerful poem we opened for ourselves. So we had a round where we took the stage and we did some opening poetry. And I did Dianetics. And the way I did it was so powerful, I believe, in my estimation, and that's not bragging or anything. I know when I do it. I put myself into it, and I set a standard for the fervor that was demanded. And from there on, I mean, those young people, they began, we were divided into segments, and so in that first segment, they began to hit it hard. I mean, they were hitting it. I even got out in the audience and began to watch some of what was going on. They hit it hard. And, you know, it was just, we were able to motivate all the generations, and even the basketball player who was the center, professional basketball player, the center for the Washington Wizards, I believe it is, basketball team, if I'm not mistaken, who was a friend of one of the poets, was called up from the audience, and he did a poem in celebration of Malcolm X. And so that was the highlight. The newest, the 50-something-year-old, we announced him as the newest member of the Poets Fellowship. And he did the headline poem celebrating Malcolm X. But everybody did some powerful energy, put some powerful energy into it. And so like I said, I believe this is the best thing we've ever done. We certainly never had, as we've had other people opening for us, but we opened this time, and then everybody came on, inspired by our opening, and did what they did. I will tell you, it was powerful. And at the end, I might add, the producer said, because he met the ambassador from Burkina Faso, that he was going to work on taking this show to Burkina Faso. And when he said that, I said, because I have connections in Ghana, if we get to Burkina Faso, I guarantee you we'll go to Ghana. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's powerful. Okay, I've come to learn and actually saw that you're quite an artist and an art collector. How did that come about? Tell us about some of your latest artistic endeavors with paint.
Well, I think the easiest way to explain it is, I mentioned earlier in the conversation, Amiri Baraka in the mid-60s was a bohemian artist. But a turning point in the black movement, I think there were two kind of things you can point to. One, when the young people from SNCC stood up on the King March and said Black Power. And the other, after Malcolm's assassination, when Baraka left the village and his whole lifestyle came to Harlem and initiated a project called the Black Arts Movement. And it was mainly poetry and the poetic expressions coming forth. But surrounding that movement were black theater productions, black painting, graphic arts, sculpture, jazz, Pharoah Sanders. So the Black Arts Movement is the multifaceted movement of art. And so that's where I am today. I am in the midst of, I didn't plan it that way, but I am a poet. I was given a saxophone during my height of the last poet. I never played the saxophone, but Archie Shep, and I wish Arch could hear this, because I'm gonna reach out to you. Archie Shep gave me my only hands-on lesson. I had a saxophone, I didn't know nothing about it. He said, listen how you do it. Show me where to put my hands, show me how to hold it in my mouth and make a sound come out. And then I listened to Coltrane, and I learned how to put my spirit into a saxophone. So I play the saxophone, I do poetry, and painting. I don't know how I got started painting. Oh yeah, I know. The main thing that got me started painting was at some point when Bill Russell, remember I'm a basketball player, and a basketball fan, fanatic. A fan in the attic. Bill Russell, when he retired, I saw an article, which by the way, this garment I'm wearing is called the dashiki, and I'm part of the movement that brought the dashiki into being in America. It was a name that was created for an African-oriented garment. They have garments like this, but we gave it the name dashiki. We created that name. And Bill Russell came to our shop and put on his first dashiki, and I wrote a story about it. But I was connected with Bill Russell, basketball, being part of the dashiki movement. And when he retired, he was in the news for painting with his feet. He said he created some paintings by walking on the putting his feet in the canvas, walking on the canvas and, spreading it around. I said, well, I like that. And so I began to paint with my hands. And so saxophone was a gift. Bill Russell inspired me to start painting. And the poetry I've been doing for 50 years and working hard, as you see. Every now and then I get a deep inspiration again. I love that poem that we created together, that you inspired me to create with that question. So that's it. What it is, basically, is we want the murals in Detroit. See, that came out of the Black Arts Movement. There was no mural movement, and they diverted it too. And I'd say it was semi-diverted. But you see, the graffiti movement is more, this is what's in my heart. And a lot of it ends up being gang messages and stuff that nobody else can understand. And it doesn't really promote itself at all. But between all of it, that's part of the art. And the same thing, the rapping, everything connected together. And we got to bring it back to consciousness. That's the key thing in the paintings, in the music, in the theater, in the sculpture, in the rapping, in the poetry. It's all about consciousness. And I might mention Steve Biko for our Moorish friends out there who say we're not black. Go into the spirit realm and talk to Steve Biko. He created the Black Consciousness movement, and I already told you that the black hole is where everything is collected.
Consciousness is cosmic common sense. It's in a realm where time is irrelevant. People speak easy.
Speak easy.
People speak easy.
Speak easy.
Speak easy to believe what they cannot see. But faith gives them that piece of the unseen and makes it a reality.
Speak faith easily. Speak easy. Come on up out of the speak easy where you're drinking and partying and speak easy about faith. Faith requires that you take a deep breath into the silence, then speak easy. See, I'm enjoying it.
Yes,
I stepped on you a little bit.
No, that was
because you hit me with that speak easy.
That was spontaneous. That was spontaneous. I like how you did that because it gave it like a call and response kind of.
Yeah, that's what it is. You see, what the last poets are and was and really are and are yet to become fully is ensemble presentation of the creative word of God. And we just did an example. You have a poem that you obviously knew. And
I just made that up.
You made that up? Oh, well, then that's cool. That is most cool because I just joined in with you and made my part up too. Speak easily about faith. Like and share this video. All you spoken word artists out there, come on, get in touch. You just saw what happens when two sincere hearts from two different generations get together. We just created a poem live. Save that. You know, make a copy of it. It's our gift to you. One day you'll be able to say you have Detroit Blue and Saba G's first poem together, ain't the last. Man, I like that.
Yeah.
I love it. I said, let's do it. And you just did it. And I didn't even know you. I thought that was a poem that you had already written. And that's why I'm being easy not to step on. But when you said speak easy, I said, I had to get in there because I'm thinking about the speak easy.
Yeah.
You know, come on up out of the speak easy, bro. And then because you ain't, you know, ain't nothing wrong. But we have to self-medicate to some degree. You have to find, but you got to find the most natural ways to self-medicate because you need to relax yourself. And the best way to self-medicate is like this.
Breath.
Enter the silence. And I'm learning how to do it after 86 years. I'm just learning how to do it. Really just learning. And have only begun, I'm telling you, to learn. Today was a perfect example. I got here late because I'm still learning how to enter that silence and stay there and not let the shaking of the world, because that which may be shaken will be shaken, because that which cannot be shaken may remain. Become one of those things which cannot be shaken. And the only way to do it is to enter the silence that supervenes shaking. Right now, I can't be shaken. And nothing can happen. A bullet, bring it on. Where are you? Bring your ray gun over here. Let me swallow the rays, transmute it. Come on, bring it. All you Hey I See guys. You know, I have a poem called, what's the name of it? I think it's F the Hey I See. I don't know. No, cuff the Hey I See. Cuff the Hey I See because it's all spelled back. Hey I See. Now, how would you say that spelling forward? CIA. Hey, I see. You know it. So come on. Hey, I see. Bring it. Bring a ray. I got that ray right there. Now you bring your ray and see which one is the strongest.
That's right.
Bring it. That's what I'm talking about. You don't get but one chance. Bring the ray.
That's right.
I got my ray.
That's right.
Hey, I see. Sun gazer, I am. Looking right at the sun, that ball of fire and energy, God's voice spoken into light. Hey, I see. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying, you know.
To them.
Yeah.
Sorry about
y'all
that.
Don't know.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
That's how it is.
I was doing a little minute of sun gazing. See, we all got to become sun gazers. We got to become Christian, Hebrew, Christian, Muslim, yogic, Buddhist, sun gazing. All of it. That's exactly the point. We got to master the mastery. And I'm talking to you little kids out there who think you know something and don't know nothing. But you know everything because you didn't get your mind right like ours was. So you know everything. I ain't mad at you. But remember that it's all out there. All you got to do is pick the fruit off the tree. That's all you got to do. And of course, be good if you great grandfather sold the fruit that you picked. That's another whole story.
I got
Like and share. 10,000 viewers. That's what
right,
we want. If
that's
we don't
right.
get 10,000, I'm gonna go into deep meditation. I ain't playing.
That's
If
right.
we do not get 10,000 views, then I'm not gonna be here. I'm in Detroit. I'm establishing the healing sanctuary of hip hop. Let's advertise that a little bit.
Okay.
I've been working with Blair Anderson, the OG Black Panther, and he and I have been restarting the conversation about black liberation. And Detroit is at the center of the conversation. Where do you think the black capital of the world is supposed to be? Africa is an underdeveloped continent, they say. And you can make an argument that that's true. Bellamy said, don't think of Africa as underdeveloped, think of it as miraculously preserved.
That's right. That's right. I like that.
But Detroit has the freedom to be the center of the amassing of all the diaspora. To say, Africa, we're looking at you. We see your light. We ain't afraid to look at you. To be sun gazers. See, when I look at the sun and then I look at you, I don't see nothing but the light. It's so wonderful to be here. And so that's it. Okay. But that's the answer to the other question.
Okay.
That's the answer to a lot of the questions.
Yeah, it is.
Like
It is.
and share this video. I want 10,000 views. If I don't get 10,000 views, I'm not threatening you, but it will be very deep to me if we don't get 10,000 views. This brother deserves 10,000 views for his video series of his heroes, the people, the ordinary. And I'm one of the people. That's the
Living
ironic
graphic
thing.
novel.
Say that again.
The living graphic novel.
The living graphic novel. This is who we are. I'm one of them.
Hey, in that thread of being the superhero, you mentioned in the history that you've been touted as an avid baller, basketball, and
Don't get me started now.
break it down for us. How did you get into balling? And I came to know that you still play to this day.
Well, not exactly to this day, because as I told you, I got engaged with my brother, and I'm going to make sure he tunes into this video. I got engaged and missed my whole basketball practice today. But the reality is, it's difficult. It's very difficult. And I need the deep meditation of at least 10,000 people to come back to be a serious basketball player. Right now, I'm a body. It's like I'm the 15th man on the roster. And I just got there because everybody got sick, and the only reason I'm on the court is because can't nobody else get out there. And I'm known for my defense, but now when the guy faked me to the right, I'm done for. So that's where I am. But a couple of weeks ago, in this bad shape, I had one of the best games of my career. I had one basket, 1 for 1. I got about 5 rebounds. I got 2 or 3 deflections or tips over to, I remember it. And a key steal at the end of the game, and we won.
That's
Now, I'm known to be a scorer. When I was in the military, I averaged 30 points a game. And I got all kinds of
good.
I got all kind of basketball stories. One is, I had a friend who was a football player, and we had a touch football league. This is in the military. Football season comes before basketball season. So I was a bad wide receiver. He was the quarterback. And we won championship, as I remember, on the post. Then I went back to get on the basketball team, and they said, oh man, you too late. We got our team. I watched them in practice, and I said, man, I'm better than anybody you got out there. and went out there and showed them and averaged 30 points a game. And then when the point guard, I was playing shooting guard, when the point guard got hurt, I called my friend the quarterback. He said, I ain't no basketball. I said, look, you just bring the ball down and give it to me. But, you know, we didn't have a good enough team. I mean, I was balling, but I did end up, as I said, I ended up playing basketball for NYU after I got out of the military. And that was a bad thing because, you know, by that time I was past my prime. I should have went straight into the pros or straight to college, one or the other. But I like to say, and you're from the North End, and you're familiar with Black Mountain, you know where Brewster Center is. At one point, my beginning of my basketball career, when I was 12, I was the tallest guy at my age. I was the same height I am today, 5'11". And my cousin, who's a couple years younger than me, he had a YMCA basketball team downtown West. And so they, you know, it was spanned. So I was asked to be on the team. I ended up being the center. And we played Brewster. And I was the tallest guy on our team. I was posting them up. Left hand hook, right hand hook. And them Brewster guys, you know, them east side, they don't play. They triple teamed me and knocked me down. I don't remember who won that game. But I developed, number one, and that'll be my basketball reference. I just gave you, at 86, I just had one of my greatest games. The Brewster game was beginning, 12. And I developed a post game so that one of my claims to fame is I believe, humbly, that I'm the best under 6 foot post-up man that ever played basketball. And if anyone out there believes that they're under 6 foot and better than me, now of course, if you're like 30 years old, ain't no way we're gonna prove it until maybe 50 years from now when you're 80 and I'm, what, 120. Because I'll be in shape by then, and you probably be faded. But anyway, no, really, I believe that I'm the best under 6 foot post man who ever played. And number two, I know this to be a fact. I invented the 360 in a Cass Tech championship game against Charlie North. And I guess I might add that Dave DeBush, I don't know if you heard that name, we played them in my junior year, and Dave scored 20 and I scored 20, and we beat him. So those are some of my
awesome bragging points.
Yeah, some of my bragging points about basketball.
You mentioned you're a great-grandfather now. Tell us what that means to you and the hope of your legacy thus far going forward.
That's the most profound question of this evening. I have 8 grandchildren and 1 great-grand. And this struggle, I've been on the battlefield all my life. And because of that, I hardly know my grandchildren and my great-grandchild. But I'll say this, I really had one deep encounter with my great-granddaughter. And in that encounter, I sat down in a chair. First time I'd ever seen her. She was maybe 4 years old, 5, 6. I don't know, young child. And she ran up to me and jumped on my lap. Like that's where she belonged. So I am going to meet with, I have 8 grandchildren by 2 women. I'm going to meet with my first wife and 6 grandchildren and the 1 great-grand. She's celebrating her birthday. And next week, as a matter of fact, I'll be in Florida to rebuild the energy field of love. To show them the love that I feel for them, that this war has kept me from showing, and to beg their forgiveness for not being as centered as I should have been, as I perhaps might have been. But begging them to understand that, wow, we've been put upon. With SIF, I much mentioned that. I've mentioned it before. 30 years I've been studying white supremacist ideology. And I finally boiled it down to a SIF. White, W-S-I-F-F-F. And F's can go to infinity, if you understand what I mean. White supremacist, W-S-I, ideology, functioning formationally, white supremacist ideological forces functioning formationally in the minds of the human population of the planet Earth. Everyone who listened to this, if it's one person, two person, 10, 20, you have been touched by white supremacist ideological forces. And they're now functioning formationally in your mind. And they're effing with your mind.
You gotta break the shackles.
You gotta, no, you don't. That's, yes, you do. But what you gotta do is
Go into the silence.
let the shackles fall away. Let your love come forth. Because the love that passes between us will heal us. I didn't know you before this broadcast. I had met you, but now I know you. Because we've allowed, I entered into your space of love, and you embraced me in that love. And I can only give love back. This is what we must do, and then we can look at one another. And I can share a few words from my elder wisdom point of view, and you can take those words and mix them into a potion for yourself, imbibe them, and say, yeah, I understand. We got to heal one another with love, deep love.
Last question, speaking on that, deepness. As an honorable veteran, you've been in the military of many sorts. You're a veteran of many sorts, not just military. If you could speak to all of humanity at once, what would your message be?
There's no ifs about it. We are one in the spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in the spirit. We are one in the Lord. But you gotta give up conditioning. You got to let it all go. Then we'll meet each other, and then we will know we are one in the spirit. We are one in the Lord. That's what I said.
Thank you very much, Bob. Saba.
Yeah, you don't need, that's a less mistake than sir. Baba, I am Baba. But Saba, you gotta be a Baba twice before you can be a Saba.
That's right. That's the
Before you
lesson.
can be a Saba G.
That's the lesson.
Before you can be a Saba G, you gotta be a Baba twice. You gotta be the Baba of a Baba or Imam, and then grandmother. Thank you.
All right. Wow. That's profound.
Yeah.
I'll be sending these to you.